canción tan poderosa. I love that song, Yanira.
Glory to God.
God bless that song.
Thank
that
you.
Song actually brought me like out of some tough situations when I like giving it up. So that's an anointed song, definitely.
That makes me happy because that's honestly all I wanted.
Amen.
To do. Like, I wanted to help people come out of bad situations, and also sorry, not to take their focus out of God, no matter how hard things are.
Amen.
I'm gonna have to add that to my playlist because that's exactly what I need at this moment.
It's a great song, honestly. It's an amazing song. Thank you for everybody that is joining this live right now. I want to say we are on episode 4, guys. We're on episode 4, and we have Self Esteem with our sister Yanira Laboy. Before we start, I want to go ahead and pray, start this off, and just set the atmosphere. I know that we all have had a great week with this word, and I know God is going to end it with self-acceptance tomorrow, and it's going to be super powerful, and I'm super excited, and I cannot wait. So let's go ahead and bow our heads and just give God, some praise right now. Padre bueno y Padre celestial, venimos ante tu presencia, Señor Jesucristo, a darte toda la gloria y toda la honra, porque solamente tú te la mereces, Dios mío. Gracias, Señor, por estos momentos que podemos estar aquí adorando y buscando y persiguiéndote a ti solamente, Señor Jesús. Gracias, Señor, por todas las hermanas, Señor, que han dicho que sí, Señor, para dar una palabra de aliento a todas esas mujeres que necesitan escuchar tu voz en estos momentos, Señor Padre Santo. A veces no es fácil, Dios mío, Señor, ser mujer, pero hay mujeres que se levantan a decir no es fácil, pero lo podemos juntas, Señor Padre Santo. Gracias, Dios mío, te presento a Yanira Laboy, Dios mío, Señor Padre Santo. Úsala, Dios mío, Señor, como un instrumento útil, Dios mío, Señor. Habla a través de ella, Señor. Toca corazones, Dios mío, Señor. Que cada palabra que ella diga, Señor, que penetre en nuestros corazones, nuestras almas, nuestros espíritus, Señor Padre Santo. Que cada uno de nosotros podemos recibir una palabra especialmente para nosotros. Señor, te pedimos todo esto en el nombre del Padre, el Hijo, el Espíritu Santo. Amén.
Amen.
Amen. So what you got for us, sister?
Okay. So I'm gonna do English. I don't know if you want to translate. I'm a little,
you could do Spanglish, it's fine. Spanglish is fine as well.
It's bad. Sometimes I start in English and then I'm like in Spanish.
You end up in Spanish. French. It's fine.
So
we got somebody from the Santo Domingo. Unido en el Espíritu. Eddie Mark, God bless you. God bless. God bless. God bless to everybody that's watching. Again, this is an episode for women. We are on episode 4, Self Esteem. Esto es un episodio para mujeres. Estamos en episodio 4 con Self Esteem. How do you say self esteem? I completely forgot. See, this is Autoestima. Autoestima, bajo su autoestima. Eso mismo. Good job.
There you go.
There you go. Well, go ahead, sister.
Okay, so my word is self-esteem. When you called me, I kind of giggled, like, really, Vigdalia? Robert was like, wasn't that a slap? I'm like, whatever.
It comes back. It comes back too.
It happens.
But this is an interesting word, because there's high self-esteem, low self-esteem, and then there's, right?
Mm-hmm.
I looked up the definition, and it means confidence in one's own worth or abilities, self-respect.
Amen.
Like, we have to know that what you're actually worth is more valuable than anything on the earth. Like, that's priceless.
Yes.
You can never forget your worth. I tell my daughter all the time, you have to love yourself first before you give the opportunity to somebody else to love you.
That's right.
Like, always, whether it's in friendship, relationship, anything. Like, you have to love yourself first, because if you don't love yourself and then you find yourself in a relationship and you don't know your worth, si te tratan mal, you're going to feel like this is what I deserve, because
Right.
you don't know your worth, and you're like, okay, this is okay. I deserve this. Growing up, I didn't know my worth. I did not. Like, I was really bad. My self-esteem was really low. I found myself in relationships where we used to literally just go at it, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
people would tell me, Mira, you know, this is not a good person for you, but
Right.
I didn't know my worth. I felt like this is the best I could do. You know, I felt like this is what I deserve. And this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life.
Right.
When I was younger, I have a cousin, man. I love her. She's like my sister. And growing up, I always wanted to be like her. Like, yo siempre quería ser como ella. And I remember one time, we were talking, we were, you know, big already. And at one point I was like, you know, that growing up, I always wanted to be like you. And she looks at me and she's like, growing up, I always wanted to be you. And it hit me like, wow, I'm really sitting here, you know, growing up, I was sitting there comparing myself to others, not really valuing myself.
Right.
You know, like I want to be like my cousin. I want to, but she was in the other side. Like, I want to be her, which that impacted me. And I always use it as an example for my daughter. Like, don't ever try to be nobody else. You know, like, know who you are, know what you can give, and stick to that, you know, no matter what. Low self-esteem is one of those people that, like, obviously is always comparing themselves to other. And even when I started church, I was so bad because I'd see, tú sabes, una mujer guerrera, and I'd be like, man, I want to be her.
Right.
You know, like, oh my God, she has an awesome voice. Yo quiero, Señor, que tú me des una voz como ella.
Yeah.
Yo quiero, Señor, que tú me uses en la predicación así como fuego. And I had to learn, you know, I had to learn that God made us all in our own way. You know, He formed us in His own way. There's a purpose. There's Yo quiero, Señor, que tú me uses. Amen.
Amen.
There's a purpose for everybody, and it's not the same purpose. You know, like me and you and her, we're worshipers, but we don't worship the same way.
We all have,
you know, we worship the same God, but we don't worship the same way.
Exactly.
Because the reason I worship is because of what I went through, because of my trials. You know, so I can't compare myself to the person who's in the front with the microphone because I don't know their trials. I don't know, you know, what they went through. I have my own worship in me, and we have to learn how to accept that. You know, like I said, when I was first starting, it was a really bad habit, and we can't do that. We have to change our prayers and be like, you know what, God, úsame como tú quieres. You know, use me how you want to use me.
Yes.
Fulfill your purpose in me. You know, we have to like really stop that. And that's something that's happening a lot in the youth.
Yes, definitely.
I cannot stand it when someone says, I want to be like you. I'm not perfect.
Right.
I'm not perfect. I have so many things wrong with me. And I always tell my daughter to like, be yourself. Be yourself. And that's what I want to tell everybody out there. Be yourself. You know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I got it all together, because I don't. You know, like, I know my worth, because I do. I know my worth. I know what I can give. But there's times when God is like, Yanira, haz esto. Or Yanira, tú puedes hacer esto. And I'd be like,
yep.
Can I, God? You know, like, there's those moments. But we have to, you know, accept, you know, el propósito que Dios tiene con nosotras. You know, we have to learn how to love ourselves. What makes us valuable is not what's on the outside, but everything we responsibly deposit on the inside. We must be willing to stop allowing things of no value to be placed on our table of life, and be willing to invest quality ingredients on the inside. Like, I know so many people, right?
I like that. I like what you said. That was, it's the truth.
That like got to me. because I know so many people that worry about what's on the outside, you know, and there has been times where in the outside, I felt like, si me veía, if you looked at me, you'd be like, wow, she got it all together.
Right.
You know, she's smiling, ella está ahí en el fuego. But deep down inside, I was battling with self-esteem because I was comparing myself to others. I was wishing I had, you know, somebody else's blessing pretty much, because that's what it is. Like, we're wishing to have somebody else's blessing instead of, you know, us accepting God's blessing for us personally, you know. And we have to stop doing that, because that does a lot of, hace mucho daño. It does a lot of damage, you know. That doesn't let us grow. It doesn't let us grow. We're gonna be stuck in the same level forever until we decide, hold up, God, I don't want to be like that person. I want to love myself for who I am. I want to love your purpose in my life, and I need you to fulfill it, you know, and show me how to love myself. Show me how to love my purpose, you know.
How do you get to that point of, God, show me what I want, like what you want for me? Like, you have to go through a lot, I can imagine, to say, you know what, Lord, change me. I'm tired of being this person.
It takes a lot. Like, it really does, because it took me a long time to accept it, you know, because we humans, nosotros peleamos mucho con el Señor. You know, when he says do this or change this, you're like, no. Or, you know, like people who are battling with self-esteem, it takes them a long time because they're constantly comparing themselves to others, you know, and God tries porque trató conmigo muchas veces, you know, but there comes a point where you're just like, tu choca, you know, and definitely. You like come to a realization, you know, that you're going to know, because it's just going to hit you like, wait, hold on. I need to change my prayer. You know, I need to start looking at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot. It does, but if you accept it, you need to come to the accept. You need to accept it. Like, that's it. Yeah. Accept it. God, hold on, you know, because, you know, like, habían gente que venían a predicar y me predicaban eso. Like, don't compare yourself to others, you know, and once you hear it, you got to be like, hold on, evaluate yourself. You know yourself more than anybody. Have you been comparing yourself to others? How do you see yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror? You know, like, do you look at yourself and I wish my hair was this way. I wish, you know, my eyes was this way, or I wish I worshiped this way. If you're doing all that, you need to stop and change your prayer. You know, you need to stop, love yourself, and, like I've been saying, change your prayer, change your focus, because your focus is not where it needs to be.
Amen.
So one of my last points, you know, because I don't talk a lot.
That's okay, I got questions.
No. It says, she also takes proper care of herself because she knows that her body, soul, mind are a temple of God. We always have to remember that. We are a temple of God.
Yes.
And there's this verse which I love. I was looking for so many, but this one just, like, I loved it. And I'm going to share it, but I'm going to say it in Spanish.
Yeah, go ahead.
It says, Dios mío, tú fuiste quien me formó en el vientre de mi madre. Tú fuiste quien formó cada parte de mi cuerpo. Soy una creación maravillosa. Y por eso te doy gracias. Todo lo que hace es maravilloso. De eso estoy bien segura.
Amen.
Tenemos que estar segura. We always have to, and that's in Psalms 139, 13 through 14, for those who want to go find it. And I read it in traducción lenguaje actual. When I read this, it was like, wow, this is really good. Because, you know, they're being sure, like, de eso estoy segura. De eso estoy seguro, que tú me formaste en una forma maravillosa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, we have to accept that the way he created each and every one of us was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, we have to, we just have to love ourselves for who we are. You know, we all have defects. Like I said, I don't have it all put together. My self-esteem is not super high. I'm not going to pretend like, you know, I have the highest self-esteem in the world, because I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, see, I have that back and forth with God, you know, because of my abilities. He has way more for me than what I can even imagine, you know. But we have to remember that he made us how he made us for a reason. We each have a purpose in life, right? So we are all one body of Christ. We cannot all be eyes. We cannot all be ears, right? We were formed differently. We sing differently. We worship differently, but we are all one. And we have to accept that we all have a different purpose, but we're all working for the same God.
Amen. Yes, I definitely.
Very true.
Yes, I definitely like that. One of my things that I had difficulty with, especially with my self-esteem, was because I had that where I wanted to sound like this person, or I wanted to look like this person, or I wanted to feel secure, but that person was already secure, but I wasn't secure. You know what I mean? So I get where all that is coming from. It's very difficult when it comes to self-esteem, especially in women, because we're so quick to look the other way and to see, oh, she has the nicest shoes, where she get her shoes at, or where she get her outfit at. I want that. Like, and it's just like, it's like a something vicious inside of us, and it's like our nature, and it's like something that we have to break, because as women, instead of seeing it in another person saying, oh wow, it looks great on you, you know what I mean, we're like, it looks great on you, but I want that.
Yeah.
No, like, learn to accept the fact that, because imagine you get the same outfit, you don't look as good as the person that wore it.
That's true. Like,
and
there's some stuff that I'd be like, oh, that's hot, but I'm like, not on me. I accept it. Not on me.
You have to be honest with yourself sometimes. There's things that we say, oh yeah, let's do this, let's do it this way, and then you do it and you're just like, wait, that is not how I wanted it to come out. And then you're just like, but why did it come out like this when this person did it and it came out better than what I did it? You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's something, I was talking to my mom about this. It's like, why do we do that? Like,
it's a really bad habit. Even when you're young, you're watching Disney Channel and you're like, oh my God, I like her outfit. I want it. Mommy, can I have this? Oh
right.
Her room. I want her room. It's really bad. Like, it's bad.
I feel like with like, this all creates, like, because how she said it's like, it's kind of like in our nature, but we have to break it. We end up starting to break our own self-esteem because of that. We end up bringing that all the way down here because we're so, like you said, focused on trying to have what that person has or trying to be what that person. That's why there's people nowadays that they say that they love themselves when they had like plastic surgery and all this stuff. Like, oh, I love myself because I look beautiful now. It's like, you had the self-esteem so low in order to change yourself completely.
Yes.
And there's people that
beautiful.
even though they go once, they want to keep going because they don't accept themselves.
They're not satisfied.
You know, that they're beautiful. They don't accept nothing.
Yeah. It was tough. It is tough, and especially in the with the women. It's like when Dorca was on yesterday and we were talking about, you know, insecurity and how we spoke about like how sometimes people that are toxic with their own insecurities and they place it on you. It's the same thing with self-esteem. If you have toxic people, it is very important to know, ladies, that if you have toxic people in your life, you need to recognize, one, who those toxic people are. You need to recognize that those toxic people are not good for you, and you need to separate yourself. Because at the end of the day, as Christians, we cannot hang around with toxicity. the Bible says that we are light, and the light cannot mix with the dark.
That's true.
So we cannot mix ourselves with people that are going to down our light simply because they're not happy. We have to find, the Bible tells us that we have to pray for those that need help. Mm-hmm. So the best thing I can do for you is pray. Now, if you need me to go an extra mile with you, I'll take you to church.
That's true. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm like really, far. I have my distance with everybody, and it's because I've learned the hard way. Mm-hmm. I used to hang around with the wrong people, and that's why sometimes I used to do bad things because, mm-hmm. hey, that's cool. That's what everybody's doing. And that's not an excuse.
Right.
But when you're in that toxicity for so long, you end up doing it too.
Yeah.
You end up being so blinded by what's like all around you. Like you're just like, okay, this is what I already know. This is what I'm living. This is how I'm coping with whatever. Like this is like my crutch basically. Yeah. So you don't want to leave that. So you just keep on going.
You have to know like from the beginning, like mm-hmm. I'm not perfect, but like I can sense stuff quick. If you sit down and you're looking on your phone and you're scrolling down some girl's Facebook and you're talking about her, you're already talking about her for the wrong thing, right?
Yep.
Because really inside you're comparing yourself to her.
Yes.
Right? Your self-esteem is so low that you're sitting there bashing somebody else. If I see that, I already know, okay, this is not my type of person to mm-hmm. because then I'm going to end up sitting right next to her and comparing myself and talking and bashing other people, and that's not okay. Like right. You want to be around people who, especially as women, I like to be around people who like to help other people. Mm-hmm. Like if there's something wrong with you, okay, I'm going to tell you something's wrong con amor, pero right. Te lo voy a decir so you can correct it. Right. Like you have to be around, you have to know who you surround yourself. That's really, really important. Mm-hmm. That's really important. If you're one of those people que te gusta, tú sabes, tener mucha amistad, ten cuidado. Yeah. Be sure that whoever you surround yourself with is good people who are going to help you. When you're mm-hmm. When you have a low self-esteem and they see you in the floor, they're not going to step on you, but they're going to give you the hand and pick you up and be like, no, girl, you're beautiful. Yes. Stop it.
And you know what? This even goes for the older women as well. I feel that, sometimes older women go through things in their life. Like as they get older, they tend to, go back to their their younger ways and, criticize and talk about other people when it comes to things that have to do with themselves. And then they're not quick to own up to it, and they're just like, no, that that's not me, but look at this person. And then you go to sit down and actually confront them about what they're feeling, and then they're like, oh no, I used to be like that. But you can already tell that it's been a long time in their life, this self-esteem issue. Yeah. And I've seen it. I've personally seen it where people are older than me, older women that have self-esteem issues because of something that happened in their childhood or something that traumatized them. There's so many ways that self-esteem can come with. It doesn't necessarily, we're not born in this life, oh, we're all happy, everything's okay. No, because the minute you were born, you're a baby, you grow up, you start to receive lo que se llaman los golpes de la vida. Los golpes de la vida no son solamente para la gente que son mayores. No, because when you're a kid, you fall and you scrape your knee. That's a lesson in life. You know what I mean? And people don't see it that way, but it is, because the minute you get hurt, that kid is crying and doesn't want to get back on the bike. Simply. Yeah. But then you see him 2 hours later back on the bike. It's stuff that happens that we sometimes don't acknowledge, and self-esteem is one of them. We don't acknowledge that we have low self-esteem, and until somebody tells us, hey, I think something, you might not be feeling well, we should talk. And you don't want to admit it to yourself because you know what is coming next. You know that it's that correction that you need for your life that is coming next.
Yeah, that is totally true. I mean, like you said, we weren't born sabiéndolo todo. We learn. We learn. But the thing is, here's the problem. Like, when you learn a lesson, don't forget what you learned. You know what I'm saying? Like, grab onto that lesson and live it. You know, make it come true. Like, don't let yourself come to a certain point in life where your self-esteem is really good, and then another day is like, like you forgot what you learned.
Right.
You know, like, you have to know that you have to grab onto what you learn every single time, you know, and not let it go.
To me, it's like a plan. Like, you have to make this plan of consistency until it becomes the norm of your life, until it's embedded into your brain and in your heart, and then that's when you're kind of like, all right, I know this, and like nothing can phase you at that moment. Like,
you gotta be
yourself, like, I know where my esteem is. I know that I you know, I'm special for God. You know, it's something where, like Dorca said yesterday, it is a process, but like I said, it's not impossible.
Exactly. Nothing is impossible. If you put your faith, if you put your effort into whatever it is you want to do, nothing is impossible. You know, like, you're not going to be stuck in low self-esteem forever. No.
I have to tell my friends that all the time. I never understood why, but since I was in like middle school into high school, I was always attracting friends who were either depressed, suicidal, low self-esteem. They didn't believe in themselves, like all of this stuff. And I was like, there was a time where they would start to drag me down on top of that. And I was like, I didn't understand what was going on until like later on into my high school years. I was like, every time they would come to me, the problem, like, really, we're going through this again? Like, did you forget what I would tell you or anything like that? Because it's self-esteem is like, it's hard. It's a tricky thing. It's tricky, hard, especially for the person who's dealing with whatever they have. Having low self-esteem cannot, it doesn't only lead to, you know, you bashing yourself or bashing others. It can lead to, you know, once you start bashing yourself, you're going into worthlessness, you're going into hopelessness, and it just comes together with depression, and that's when everything leads to you are nothing.
But you are something, and you have to remember that, you know, and that's where the Bible, I mean, we have it there for a reason. You know, like, there's been times in life where I needed a word, you know, and we have to learn this. Please, guys, get this, like, embedded in your brain. Don't always expect a preacher to come up to you, ponerte la mano, and tell you what you want to hear. That's not how it works. Like, I learned this the hard way too. Sometimes God just wants you to get on your knees and listen. Or he wants you to open the Bible and he wants to speak to you through there, you know, because there's so many promises in the Bible that we read them, but we forget them in 1 second, you know. But when you're going through these kind of things, even with self-esteem, which is something like, that's really in the Bible. Yes, there's verses in the Bible where God will speak to you and he will bring up your self-esteem. You know, it's like the verse I read earlier. You know, there's verses like that can build up, you know, what you need para seguir hacia adelante. And we can't forget that. The Bible is there for a reason. Don't always go to your friend to look for advice. Don't always go to your pastor. We love our pastors and everything. They're there for a reason. Yes. But don't put all that pressure on him or her.
Yeah, you know, you have to do the work, you know, yourself as well.
Exactly.
Like, just like how a lot of people rely on God, like, they're just like, God's gonna do this for me, God's got this for me, God, you know, God. I'm like, okay, but he can't do 100% of the work. You have to put in your self work as well, because then it's a balance.
Exactly.
You know, how are you gonna depend on God, you know, this whole time, and you're over here down here? It's like, okay, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for whatever you're gonna do. Like, are you gonna do it yet? Like, and you're basically losing time.
Exactly. We can't be like, hey, God, can you help me with my self-esteem? But sit there on Facebook and be like, I wish I was her. You can't expect God to help you out if you're grabbing on to those thoughts. Like, you have to pray to God, but also put your effort in to be like, okay, hold on. Like, it's okay. It's going to happen. You're going to be like, I want to be like her. But once you say that right after, you be like, oh, perdóname, Señor. You know, I don't want to be like her. I want to be myself. You know, like, you got to correct your actions and don't always expect others to correct them for you. Like, you got to learn to correct yourself before anybody comes and corrects you.
Yeah.
I think it's, sorry. I think also, is the change of mindset throughout this whole entire series. What has been coming to me when we talked about emotions, when we talked about self-esteem, when we're talking about insecurity as well, the first thing you got to change is your mindset. You have to think more positive about who you are as a person before you can actually change everything. Because it's like my mom said in the first video, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound so big that doesn't fit, and you got this Band-Aid like this small. You're not really covering anything, you know, and you still got wounds that are open. So you have to change your mindset. You have to think better about yourself, and then little by little your self-esteem will start to grow in a positive way for you.
Exactly.
So we have a couple questions here from Dolka.
Oh, thank you, Dolka. I love you.
Of course. Says, how different was your 15-year-old self-esteem to your self-esteem now?
And Dolka. 15-year-old me. Listen to this. 15-year-old me. First of all, everybody, I have an 11-year-old daughter. She's about to be 12 tomorrow. So happy birthday, Denisha.
Ooh, happy birthday, Denisha.
I got pregnant at 15. Okay, that's bad. My self-esteem wasn't. There was nothing there. You know, I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I didn't know how to say no to people. I did not love myself. I wanted to kill myself, you know, because I didn't love myself. I didn't love the life I was living. I let all these bad thoughts get into my head and get the best of me, that I found myself in that situation where I literally wanted to just not even be alive, because I thought there was no purpose, because there was people who weren't treating me the right way. And I felt like that's what I deserved, you know, because I didn't know my worth. I didn't know, you know, I had a purpose in life. And so now you can't tell me nothing. I know my worth. I know it. Yo sé que yo puedo dar mucho en la vida normal, como esposa, como madre, como hija, and also in the spiritual world. You know, like, I know my worth and nobody can tell me otherwise. Do I battle still? Yes. But I'm definitely not in the same level as, like, if I want to say no to something, I will say no to something, you know, and if someone wants to treat me, you know, a certain way, then toodles. I'm going to just separate myself from you, and I'm not going to accept what you said from me. You know, I'm going to just keep moving and know that I do have a worth, you know?
Yeah, amen. That's right. We have another one. It says, when did you realize that you needed change?
When did I realize that I needed change? It was 2012. I was, I think, 19 years old. I was 19 years old. I have a really, it's a crazy testimonio. I don't really talk too much about my testimonio. Like I said, you know, I always wanted to kill myself. I didn't love myself. I was always comparing myself to others. Con todo y eso, even though with the life I lived, God would always talk to me. And I would always just kind of push it aside, you know, until me dio cantazo, pero bien dado. Like, being thou. You know, there's people that come to church because they love God, and you know, they want to accept him because they want to accept him. But there's other people that come to church because, you know, Dios le da una bofeta, and they realize it with what they went through. You know, because I can't sit here and be like, God did not warn me this would happen. God warned me of a lot of things, you know, and even still him warning me, I decided to do many bad decisions. I decided to still live the way I wanted to live until that one day I decided, okay, God, I realized I needed a change in my life. I even went to Puerto Rico. Like, my mom was living in Puerto Rico for about 2-3 years. I decided I'm going to go to Puerto Rico. I'm going to leave Springfield and I'm going to become a church girl and I'm going to, you know, live the life. That's not how it works. Even if you leave to a whole nother state, to a whole nother part of the world, your mindset is going with you.
Yeah.
Like,
I would, when you brought that up, that's exactly what came up in my head was when my mom took me to live in Ohio. She did that solely for the purpose for me to get a better life. My life at the moment at that time was just pieces. I couldn't make sense of anything that was happening. Just like you, I wanted to kill myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't know my self-worth because I didn't know who I was. Mm-hmm. I was still trying to figure out who I was. Mm-hmm. And I felt like everybody was out, like, to get me, like they were against me. And my mom was like, okay, we need to go somewhere else out of Springfield where all the trauma is and get you a new life. But everything followed. It was worse. It was just worse. Everything got so much more worse when I went to Ohio. And
you can't even.
I told myself. I know. That's when I told myself, and I was talking to a therapist at the time. I was just like, it clicked right there in the moment of our appointment. I was like, it's me. Mm-hmm. It's not wherever I go. It's not the place I'm living. It's not my environment. It's me. If I don't change how I'm thinking, if I don't change how I perceive my world, because everybody else can be like, oh my God, my world is amazing, or my world is, you know, happy, you know, things are going great for me. But that person who's seeing the great things is seeing the negative in them, then it's how you're perceiving the world. It's how you're seeing everything going on in your life. And if you don't change that, it's just downhill from there, basically. And that's why I feel like when you're in, you know, the walk with God, and I always pray, I'm like, God, you know, help me see what you see in me. Because I don't see it. And there's times where I cry, I'm like, please, I want to see what you see. I want to see the worth that you're telling me that I have. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of like women, young women, you know, nowadays, and even back then, because this goes on for years, I feel like that's something that we all need to learn and be consistent with, because we can learn it, and like you said, we just really gone like by the next minute.
Gotta learn
it. It's like she said, it's hard.
It's hard. It is hard. It's really hard. It's a really hard battle, but we can do it. You know, we can overcome anything, especially if we have God by our side. Mm-hmm. We're conquerors.
We have another question.
Man. We got questions.
What would you tell your 15-year-old self? What advice would you give her?
15-year-old me.
Just like, who's staring at you like...
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to let go of people who you know don't love you, who you know don't appreciate you, because you know. I tell her to be strong, that she's going to conquer many things, and to stay positive no matter what comes, you know, her way. And I definitely tell her, look for God.
I don't
regret anything. I don't regret anything, because you know what? The bad relationships help me notice, you know, okay, wait, hold on. That's not for me. I don't deserve that, you know, and I appreciate my husband so much more because I know that everything I went through before is not what I deserved. And I thank God because he's awesome. You know, he's an awesome husband. And I would have never been able to see that if I was still in that mindset of, you know, low self-esteem, like, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I definitely to be strong, be positive, and be persistent. You know, don't give up in life. And yeah, keep moving. Like, I honestly thank God that he gave me my daughter, the you know, at the time that he gave me her, because she was my motivation. And I'm not saying it's okay, because it's not okay. Like, I tell my daughter, girl, no boyfriends, eso nothing. You know, love yourself before you give the opportunity to somebody else to love you. You know, I do speak to my daughter, but I am thankful because she pushed me. You know, me seeing her, I'd be like, you know, hold on, she's looking up to me, you know, and I have to do better. So I did meet a lot of my goals, you know, because of her. But there's people who don't have that motivation. And I want to tell you guys, I'm here. I am here. I don't even care where you from. Like, I like to help people because I know how hard it is to be in that situation, you know, to be with low self-esteem, to be with suicidal thoughts. Like, I know what it is to be in that situation, and it's not a happy place.
Yeah. Being a teen mom, how was your self-esteem then when you found out that you were gonna be a mom at the age of 15?
That was hard. It was hard. My first thought was, listen, hold on. You know how I found out? I went to one of those regular appointments with my mother. And I remember, you know how they be like, oh, you know, for your mom to leave the room.
Yeah. They ask you those questions.
They did it twice. The second time they asked her to leave the room, I was like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So the nurse told me, and my first thought was, no way. No way. One, I wasn't, you know, in a relationship. They had dumped me months ago because I was too nice of a person. I was dumped because I was so nice. And now I'm 15. I'm not with the dad. I was still in school. Like, I was still a baby, you know? So my first thought was no. And the nurse asked me, do you want me to tell your mom or you tell her? And I was like, no, you're going to tell her. And you know, Puerto Rican moms. Si tú metiste la pata, you're going to deal with it. So my mom was like, no, tú lo vas a tener, right there in front of the nurse. And the nurse was like, you can't tell her that because she doesn't want to. And, you know, we have to respect her wishes. And my mom was like, no, she's going to have the baby. And that's that. And if si tú no lo quieres, me lo das con papeles, pero lo vas a tener. And I was like, my first thought was that, but I knew that was wrong. I knew that was wrong. So, you know, I got home. I hated myself because I was just like, my dad didn't speak to me for a month. I was just getting close to him. I was just starting to open up to him in different, you know, because there's levels, you know. So I was starting to, you know, open up to him. I felt like I failed my mother, you know, like I hated myself. I'm telling you, I cried so much through my pregnancy. One of my friends, I thank her. Her name is Jennifer. I'm going to say it. Yes, Jennifer, I love you. She went into my room once, and I remember this because it just like impacted me. I used to cry literalmente todo el día. Era una depresión inmensa because, hello, I felt like I was a failure in life. You know, I'm 15, I'm here. And she came into my room and she was like, get up. This is the kind of friends we need. She was like, get up, stop crying. You need to get out this house. We need to go do something. And she did not give up on me. She didn't give up on me, and I thank her so much. Because of her, I was able to get out of that depression. I was able to accept, okay, I made a mistake, but this is a blessing. This is a blessing, and I'm gonna accept it. I'm gonna accept that this is what this is my consequence. And whether anybody, wants to be there with me, fine. Whoever doesn't, fine. But I'm really thankful that I had a friend like that, that she was like, nena, ponte palo tuyo. We have to surround ourselves with people like that, que nos levanten cuando lo necesitemos. Because it was really hard to find out that I was pregnant at 15, like I'm young, and I love my family. So it was like, man, I failed my brother, I failed my sisters, I failed my mom, I failed my dad, but yeah.
So Dolca saw a post a few months ago, and it said, if you are not fixed, you cannot keep ministering. She says, I understood it in a way that if you're hurt, you'll spread hurt as you minister. What do you think about that? If someone is struggling with low self-esteem, can they help others being hurt?
Wow, that's a hard one.
That's a good one. I want to hear you answer this.
That's a really good one. Because I found myself in situations where I was so hurt inside, and I felt like, God, I can't do this. I'm just gonna let go, because I was having a battle inside me. But it was at that moment that God put someone in front of me with the same situation, and I was literally able to help them. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying it's hard, because I found myself in situations where I'm battling with something inside me, but I've actually helped somebody else get through it. So it's kind of like God saying to us, if you help this person get through it, you can help yourself get through it too. You know what I'm saying? But there's also people who are really bad, and they can't help others because they're so deep in that you can tell, you can tell that, porque te van a dar un consejo que no es. They're going to give you an advice that's not going to help you out, so that's a hard question, because I guess it depends on the person. Because like I said, I found myself in situations where I'm battling, and I can even speak as a minister's wife. There's times where es el momento más difícil de nuestras vidas, pero el Señor nos usa, hablando por mi esposo y por mí también, para ayudar a las otras familias, So yeah, I don't know how to answer that. Like, it's hard.
So Dolca has another question.
Dolca, deja.
Dolca says, I just like being informed.
She wants to know.
So she says, now I'm not married, right? But for the men who are watching, how can they help their wives build their self-esteem? What are some things that Robert helps your self-esteem be stable and strong?
Okay, so if your wife gets dressed, if she gets all dolled up, you better know, without her telling you, you gotta let her know from the get that she is looking fine. Okay?
Don't wait an hour.
No, because it's funny, because yesterday, Robert and I downloaded this app, and it's called Love Language. We all have our own love language. Yes, some people
I've
love
heard about that.
Yes, some people love the hugs, the holding hands and all that. That's touching, right?
Yeah.
I'm more of a show me, like if I come home and my husband did the dishes, I'm just like, thank you. Like there's different, you got to know your partner's love language. Once you know their love language, then that's when you can, that'll help you with the brownie points. Okay. So like he can tell me I look beautiful, but there's other women that won't mean too much. You know what I'm saying? Because their love language is not like mine. But learn your wife's or your husband's love language and talk to them in their love language, you know, help them out, especially, you know, I'm a mom, that my husband helps me. Like it could be a la 1 de la mañana y yo me fui para arriba. I went upstairs and I'm taking care of the baby, but I can hear him downstairs cleaning up, you know. That's something very important. Like he knows, okay, espérate, ella necesita ayuda, pues déjame ayudarla. Don't expect your wife to always tell you what to do, where she needs help, you know. And I love, it's hard. It was hard to come into ministry because it was already Robert, you know, and then here comes Yanira. And it was hard because people expect me to be him, you know, like a girl version of Robert, and I'm not that, right? But I do love that my husband, no matter what, he always pushes me. He always gives me words of encouragement, and the song is out there because of him, not because of me. I wrote that years ago. I'm talking about probably like 2014, 2015. But because of him, because he pushed me, because he believed in me, you know, because he gave me words of encouragement, and because he was like, I don't care what you say, I'm going to put it up because I know this is the best somebody's life, you know, like be the head of the household, okay? Right. And know that, don't forget that you have to help your wife in everything, you know, in prayer, in like, if you see her saying, no, I don't want to, you know, because I can't sing, you already know her self-esteem is a little low, so you gotta, no sé, practica con ella. Recuérdale, mira, tu voz es bonita, you sing really good. My husband does that. He'd be like, ay, Yanira, you did so good. And I'd be like, Robert, stop. But, you know, it's him giving me words of encouragement, and I love that about him, you know, and I hope people are doing that with their wives, you know, like, you gotta know if she's saying, you know, like, yo quiero hacer así, or yo quiero hacer asá, or no puedo, you know, if there's a little bit of negativity, there's something going on, and you should help her on that.
Right. So have you ever affected others' self-esteem because yours was also low?
I believe I probably did. I had a bad mouth when I wasn't in church. I had a really bad mouth. So I'm pretty sure I hurt a lot of people's lives. And even in the beginning, when I first started church, I came into church with a bad mouth, and not saying I'm a very real person, right? But we have to know our limits, okay? So there's been people who've been wrong. There's people who are living it wrong, and you know it, right? So I have gone to people and been like, hey, you're doing this, this, and this, and you need to do this, but I said it in the wrong way. So I know I probably did, but when you do, you have to say you're sorry, because you're going to know. Once you do it, you're going to go home, and the spirit, whether it's in the middle of the night, you know, everybody lays down and thinks. And that's when the spirit's going to remind you, like, hey, you remember this conversation you had with this person? You might have hurt them. So you have to go, sorry. I know I probably did, because, hello, yo era bien al garete afuera de la iglesia. So when I came in with all these bad habits, and I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what it was to speak to a person with love. My thing in my family is, I'm just going to be real, and I'm just going to tell you how it is. But that's not how it works in this path, you know, because there's things that you can confront a person at a certain way, pero hay otra persona que no está con la misma madurez espiritual. So you have to tell them a different way, you know? So yes, I'm pretty sure I have, but I've always noticed and said my sorries, you know?
So, do you consider someone who has low self-esteem to be more defensive to their surroundings?
What do you mean?
So, do you consider someone that has low self-esteem to be like hostile, like with other people? Like they're, you know what I mean? Like it's like if they have
Like
low
if
self-esteem, if you tell them something, they get defensive.
yes. When you're in the situation, don't don't try to
Yes.
tell me I'm not okay, because you don't want to accept it yourself. So for somebody to tell you that, you're like, no, cállate, like don't talk to me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't accept it. You don't, yeah, you're very defensive. Until you don't accept it yourself, until you don't notice it yourself, yes, you're gonna stay being defensive. Like, no me hable, ¿qué te pasa a ti? You know, no, yeah.
So these are for the mothers watching. How can they reach out to their daughter or son without their children feeling scared?
Reach out in like how?
In a sense of like, you know, seeing that their son or daughter is going through self-esteem issues, and because everybody's different, some take it to it as like they're scared to like show their self-esteem. So how can the parents reach out, like the moms reach out to their son or daughter in that sense?
That's hard. Me personally, I love to talk to my daughter, and even though I was a teen, so I know there's things that are gonna come out of my mouth and she's not gonna accept it. But when she grows up, she's gonna be like, hold on, mommy told me this. I know that. But everybody knows their kid. You know when something's wrong. You know, so I suggest taking them out, you know, go on a mother-daughter date or a father-daughter date or a father-son date, mother-son date, go on a date, help them open up, help them feel relaxed, you know, give them that opportunity to spill their heart, to spill their thoughts. You know, I always try this. Sometimes I send Robert. I'd be like, you know, go on a father-daughter date because, you know, I want her to have that relationship to be, she opens with stuff. She opens herself in a different way with Robert than with me. You know what I'm saying? Like each kid has a different way of opening up to each parent.
Definitely.
So,
very true.
Yeah, always make time for them, you know, and if you see something, please don't let it go for a long time. You know, like talk to them nicely. Don't be judgy. Do not be judgy. No importa. Some parents, you know, and sometimes we're gonna be like, mira, pero tú, que si esto, blah, blah. We have to hold our mouth and let them speak, you know, and always give them words of encouragement, words of wisdom, because we are parents, but we can hurt our kids. I have hurt my daughter many times, but you know what? I go after and I'd be like, I humble myself as a parent. I'd be like, perdóname, I should have never said this. I should have never spoke to you this way, but you know what? You can trust me, okay? You can trust me with whatever it is that you want to tell me. Just having that communication with your kid. You know your kid. Tú lo pariste. You know when something is wrong. So if you see something wrong, make a date. I mean, we're in quarantine. We can't do much, but
take a room.
Yeah, take a room. Make them their favorite meal.
Yeah.
Like you should know your kid's favorite meal. Make them their favorite meal. I like to sit in the table and talk as a family.
That's nice.
If you don't do that, start doing it. You know, you have to give them that freedom. Le tienes que dar esa oportunidad que se sienta comfortable. You know, let them feel comfortable and let them open up, and don't be so judgy. Okay. Because kids want their parents' help. You know, even though we're like hard, especially in teen times, like your parents are there for a reason, and most of us want our parents to help us. Most of us want our parents to ask us what's wrong. But we don't tell them like, hey, I want you to ask me. No, you know, like know your kid. How do I say? oh my God, like just study them, study them, you know,
Like
because
be
sometimes,
very observant.
exactly, be very observant. Sometimes us as parents, we're so busy with life and we think, oh, ella está grande ya, she's 8 years old, she's 15 years old, you know, she's good. But no, like they still need us. They still need us at 18. They still need us at 20 years old. I still need my mama, and I'm 27 years old. Like,
Same, sister. I'll be 28 and I
hello.
still need my mama.
Yeah, like we don't ever stop needing our parents. So yeah, be very observant, and yeah.
Okay, last questions. 2 more. What do you tell a girl that has been sexually abused? How can she, that's been struggling with self-esteem and insecurity issues?
That's really hard. I went through something before I started, you know, this path. It was really hard. It was really hard because you feel disgusting. You feel disgusting. You don't want to know about no man. You don't want to know about love. Like you don't trust nobody. You know, like you feel like a failure. You feel like it's your fault.
Yeah.
You know, like why wasn't I smart enough? You know, I could have did this. I could have, you know, changed it this way.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but you have to keep working. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep pray to God, because he's your only way out. And don't give in to the bad thoughts, because it'll get bad. It'll get really bad. So pray. Put it all on God's feet. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for you to forget. It's not going to be easy for you, you know, to get up. But con la ayuda de Dios, you can. You know, you are valuable. That happened. I don't know why. You know, me, I can't say que Dios no me ve. Todo mundo tiene su manera de. Everybody has their different way of what happened. I can't sit here and say God didn't warn me, because he warned me even of that. You know what I'm saying? So when it happened, all I seen, literally sin exagerar, I seen a screen, and all the times God spoke to me, you know. So it was really hard, because even with that, I was just like, teatre, ni a Dios le hice caso. You know, like I couldn't even listen to the one man that could have gave me a better life. But he can help you. You went through it. It sucks. It stinks. Like it's really bad. It's a place I don't desire nobody to go and be in. You know, I don't wish that pain upon nobody. And there's people, I always say I thank God, because there's women who had it worse. There's women who are dead. There's women who, you know, are still going through it. You know, they don't know how to leave. They're going through it with the person who is supposed to be their best friend, with their husband. You know what I'm saying? Like there's, that's hard, but you can get through it. You can get through it. Déjaselo todo en los pies del Señor. And when you're alone, don't feed into those thoughts, you know, because you don't forget. We're human. You do not forget. But when you're thinking about it, ask God, mira, Señor, por favor, llévate estos pensamientos. Ayúdame, por favor, to get out of this negativity. You know, please help me move forward and know that I do have a purpose, and I don't understand how that happened or why that happened, but only you know. And yeah, just hold on to Christ, and he's going to give you the strength to get out of that and build up in your self-esteem.
Amen. Well, sister,
thank you so much for saying yes to this. It's been a privilege to have you. Those words were definitely real, raw. I love it because it's things that we go through that we don't want to talk about, but you know, self-esteem is very important, and we have to have, you know, the positivity in us to talk about, I'm okay, I'm doing this great, and it's just a matter of